if your daily life, if your daily work is about the thing that you're going to talk about, then your daily life, your daily work turns into the prep. You don't have to do additional prep. So that's going to be my approach for this talk, because I honestly do think that for this specific topic, I put in the reps every single day. I've put in the reps for the past 2 years, I think. So there's not a lot of prep to do. I'm basically just going to try and summarize the key points that I want to cover, and then create some nice slides with Claude, and we'll be good to go. So another thing that I wanted to share is I never assume that people come to a talk to listen to me. I never assume that they're interested in me or in my projects, my ideas. Like, no one cares about you or your product or your idea or your project. They care about the value that you're bringing to them. For anyone giving a talk, for anyone sharing their experience, that's the mindset I would suggest you keep. Like, no one's there to see you. I get that you may think that you're amazing. I'm not saying you're not. I don't know you, but I'm not saying you're not. But I do know that people are not going to use their time just to listen to you because you're amazing. People want to spend their time in things that will bring them value. If it's 30 minutes, if it's an hour, whatever it is, people want to invest that time in something that will have a return on that investment. They want to learn something, they want to hear a lesson that will save them a mistake in the future. They want to understand how to solve their problems. They want to understand how to address their challenges. Like, people want to gain something. And whenever I'm giving a talk, that is the thing that I have in my head. People are here to gain something. People are here to learn something. So in this case, that something is around product discovery and product validation, because guess who has a lot of experience with that? I do, because I've spent, as I just said, around 2 years in product discovery and product validation. I've made a ton of mistakes, and I think that's where the experience comes from the actual mistakes that I've made. It doesn't come from me saying, oh, I've been so successful at this. No, if I would have just succeeded at this and it would have been easy, I don't think that I would have so many lessons to share. I think that I have some experience, or I think that I have something to share because of the mistakes that I made, because of the mistakes that I keep making today. I learn from those mistakes much more than I would learn from just succeeding. Because here's the thing, when you fail at something, you kind of try to understand why you failed. You try to figure out what the mistakes were. But if you just succeed and have success after success, sometimes you don't even realize what are those key aspects that are leading to your success, which is why there are so many entrepreneurs out there. I've heard this time and again. Actual examples of real people who have launched a business, had an amazing success, and then they go for the second business, the second product, the second idea, and it is a complete failure because they kind of missed the point and they didn't really pay attention to what were those key aspects that enabled them to succeed. What was in the original recipe that made that business a success? So if you fail the amount of times that I have failed, you start understanding and noticing patterns. And those patterns give you such an immense amount of learning. So I've learned much more from my failures than from the times that I've succeeded. And I'm going to be sharing the lessons from said failures. I'm probably going to be recording Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the talk is on Saturday. No idea at what time we're speaking, but you're coming with. So on Monday, that is tomorrow, my goal is going to be summarize the points that I want to share, because as I've mentioned, I have like 500 lessons that I could share from 500 and I don't know how many mistakes that I've made. So I'm going to choose the lessons that I consider to be the most valuable ones. I already have a list of the top 5 lessons that I want to share, because those are the lessons that I wish someone had shared with me before. Those are the things that if someone had told me before I started these 2 years of product discovery and product validation, I would have been able to save myself so much time and so many mistakes. Monday, I did absolutely nothing to prep for this talk. Tuesday, I quickly went through some of the slides that I had for a previous talk on a very similar topic. I thought I was going to use some of that, but as soon as I saw it, I thought, scratch that. We're starting from kind of zero, because that was from last year and it's already June. So I've done a lot of learning in the last 6 months. So I want to implement those new lessons. So that's what we've done. I wrote down a list of things that I wanted to share. Okay, so I finished the deck. I started the deck today and I finished the deck. I did not use Claude just because I ended up creating something super simple, because I had the key points in my head ready to go. Even if on Monday and Tuesday I didn't actually do anything, my head was incubating some ideas. So by the time I got to Canva, the ideas were clear, and the story that I wanted to tell, the way I wanted to communicate these ideas was also clear. So before I go for a run, the last thing that I wanted to share was about talking about something that you care about and that you're interested in. Years ago, I was asked to talk to a group of young people, and the person who invited me, she kind of gave me a very detailed brief of what she wanted me to cover. It was literally like point by point, every single thing that she wanted me to cover. And now, at the time, I was like, I don't feel that interested in doing that, but I'll give it a go. You know, this was like almost 10 years ago. It was like 2018, I think. And something that I learned from that experience was I'm not doing that again. Because when I was giving this talk, I was not engaged at all with what I was saying. Like, I was kind of even bored myself because I was not in it. When you give a talk, you really need to be speaking from within. Like, you cannot be sharing something that you have been looking at from the sidelines. You need to be talking about a game that you have been playing, like a field that you have actually stepped on. So I'm happy that I'll get to do that on Saturday. And also, we confirmed that we're speaking at 10 a.m. And I'm not a person who likes to give a morning talk, because I'm not so sharp in the mornings when it comes to speaking. I can be working quietly on my own, but not giving a talk. So we will need a lot of coffee before that. And now I'll go for my run and I'll come back with some updates whenever I have some. I'm recording this now because otherwise this is not going to get recorded at all. I have like 5 or 6 things to finish before the talk tomorrow, and I am running And I honestly do not want to be running right now. I don't have the energy. I'm way too tired. I'd much rather be finishing all the work that needs to get done for tomorrow. I was reminded of something this week when you're speaking. I got a WhatsApp message in my native language with a very simple question that quickly turned into a very complicated one because this person decided to choose the most sophisticated or complex words in the vocabulary. I had to Google what these words meant because I had no idea what this person was asking. No idea if the answer was supposed to be yes or no, or if it was an open ended question. Like, so confused. What I'm trying to say is when you speak, when you give a talk, like, I don't care if you have the most extensive vocabulary in the world. I care about understanding what you're saying. Even if you have the most extensive, sophisticated, technical vocabulary in the world, don't use it because you are there to communicate an idea. You're not there to show people how smart you are and the wealth of knowledge that you have. That's super clear to me when I'm speaking. I want a 5-year-old to be able to understand what I'm saying. If a 5-year-old can't understand me, I've done something wrong. So don't use your technical vocabulary. It's not going to help anyone. And land the plane. I've had some calls this week with people that I know, and when I ask a question or when we're just talking, they go off topic, they go off track, and they end up speaking for minutes ongoing without landing the plane. So if you're giving a talk, number one, make sure everyone understands what you're saying, get the point across, and land the plane. And yeah, let's go get ready. Now, I'll finish my run. So we have arrived. I'm running a few minutes late, I would say. I'm like on the verge of time. Coffee, obviously. And let's hope we arrive to this place on time and that I don't get lost here. But anyway, I'm happy to be able to talk about the things that I've been doing in the past 24 months in terms of product discovery, product validation, and all of that. We finished the presentation last night at around 2 a.m. because, it seems as if it's a habit now. But finished the presentation, and then I want to show you what's in my bag because it's interesting, but I still don't have so much energy. I'm trying to ignore the fact that I don't have the energy that I would like to have. But let's go. So we finished our talk, got some coffee, always need coffee, and we got a lot of questions. I might create some more content around those questions because they were interesting questions. Now I want to share what I have with me because it's interesting to me that most of the things that I brought or that I have in my bag are technical things. Basically, I have one clicker, and then, in case that doesn't work, second clicker, second DJI mic here, first DJI mic here, because we don't know what we're wearing, so don't know if we will need white or black mic. The DJI cover box thing, tripod, dongle, and that's all I have with me, and chapstick and hair tie because it's so hot. So I don't see other people whose bags look like tech gear, or I don't know, but I just thought how interesting that the only things that I want to bring with me are technical things. So anyway, we talked about product discovery, product validation. It was a good talk. We had some interesting questions. And again, this is a topic that I enjoy talking about because I have actual experience with it. And the people who organize this event and who have organized these events, they trust your experience, they trust your creativity, they trust the way that you want to communicate your point of view. So if I had someone, trying to tell me how to communicate the exact points to cover, it would be harder to be able to get the point across. So we're now leaving. Want to get more coffee, more breakfast, not more breakfast, coffee, breakfast, and then get some work done. It's Saturday, so I have the rest of the day to work on whichever projects I want to work on. And so that's it. So it's now 3 p.m. and I just wanted to share 3 key points from this talk. First thing, validate. Validate your product, validate your idea, validate the pain point, validate that what you're thinking about actually exists, that the market actually exists, that the willingness to pay is there, and that the problem actually exists. So, number 1, validate. Number 2, test. There's so many people that talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And you talk to them today, and then you talk to them again in 5 months or in 5 years, and they have done nothing, absolutely nothing. And I'm not talking about launching or not the product. I'm talking about did they run some ads? Did they talk to potential users? Did they test the messaging? Did they test the positioning? Did they did some market research? Did they do some benchmarking? Did they do anything? No. So test. Whatever you are able to achieve through tests, whatever those results are always going to be much better than you just yapping around all day talking about something that you're going to do and you end up doing nothing. And then third thing would be just get started and get started with the resources that you have. I hear these lies over and over again about people telling other people and people telling themselves that they need X amount of things or Y amount of resources to get started. You don't need anything that you don't have. Get started with what you have. Get started with where you're at. Start from where you're at. Start with what you have. Run some tests and get going. Nothing gets built overnight. You never start with the perfect idea, so just start, get going, and in that process, you will end up with a better product.